on our website on the section officers and organizers page for future reference. We will also email the link out to all those that were invited to the webinar today. Over the course of this webinar, we will review the APSA staff members that you will come in contact with over the course of your term as an officer, important dates that you should make note of, accessing your section's member roster, navigating APSA Connect, the APSA website and section microsites, section journals, finances, and the update forms, the APSA organized section handbook, and then, as I noted earlier, we will review any questions that any attendees may have. So as I mentioned, my name is Casey Harrigan, and I'm the Associate Director of Member Services here at APSA. In addition to myself, Christy Silva is our Program Associate. The Member Services Department really acts as your main point of contact with APSA. We're here to provide you with any questions that you may have, any section roster requests, lapsed member lists for additional section outreach, any difficulties that you may be experiencing with your individual APSA account, including your individual login credentials or renewing your own membership, section dues payments, including updating your section dues, and any historical data that you may be interested in having for your section. So every year we collect this data and bylaws from previous section chairs, so we have that all in file if you have any questions about that. Member Services is also the point of contact for any journal publishers that need to acquire member lists for section journals. The publishers should contact Member Services directly, and we will then provide them with that list. Our Communications Department is composed of Dan Gibson, Senior Director, Karima Scott, Director, and Clarissa Westall Noguera, Communications and Web Services Specialist. They are here to assist you with APSA Connect, establishing and maintaining section microsites, the APSA website, and PS Now. Our Meetings Department is composed of Ashley Van Bunte, Director, and Caitlin Olson, Program Associate. The Meetings Department will be your point of contact for any inquiries regarding your annual meeting division chair and submitting your call for papers.
Casey.
Yes.
The audio is sort of acting up a little bit. I'm not sure if it's just your phone, but it's sort of like breaking up a little bit.
Oh no.
Yes. I don't know how to. I don't think it's a Zoom call thing. I think maybe it's just the service. If you could continue, and I'll let you know if it's breaking up again. You may have to call in or hang up and call back in.
Let me try taking it off speaker and just talking into the phone.
Sure. Okay.
Okay. So as I was saying, is this better so far?
Yep.
Great. So as I was saying, our Meetings Department will be your point of contact for any inquiries regarding your annual meeting division chair and submitting your call for papers. They'll also be your point of contact for submitting annual meeting business requests and reception requests. And then we'll review the important dates that you should make note of regarding the annual meeting in an upcoming slide. The Publications Department at APSA is composed of John Gerstel, our Publishing Director, and Nick Townsend, Program Associate. Any questions regarding section journals as well as publisher relations can be directed to our Publications Department. Our Finance Department at APSA is composed of Larry Berner, Director of Finance and Administration, Rena Kai, Senior Accountant, and Tony Duthard, our Staff Accountant. Our Finance Department will be your contact for account balance inquiries as well as any check and credit card requests that you may have. So as I mentioned, we're going to review those 2019 dates that you should make note of. The first one coming up is March 29th, and that is when all annual meeting, business meeting, and reception space requests are due. The form is currently posted on the annual meeting website, and an email will be sent out in the coming weeks containing a link to that form as well as any further information that you need in order to fill out that form. June 14th is when catering selections and quantities are due for any of your events that you're hosting at the annual meeting, and the hotel that will be hosting your event will reach out to you directly regarding this information. June 15th is when all organized section award winners are due back to the Member Services Department. It's important that we get this by June 15th in order to make sure it's included in our print program for the annual meeting, as well as the October issue of PS. I will be sending out a form in the spring that all the information can be recorded on and then sent back to the Member Services Department. July 1st is when division chair nominees for next year's annual meeting are due to APSA. Our meetings department will contact you regarding the appropriate form that needs to be filled out for that, and then they will provide them with the information about the call for proposals for the next meeting. August 30th is when we are hosting our organized section breakfast at the 2019 APSA annual meeting. This allows an opportunity for all section officers to come together and meet one another, as well as hear from APSA staff regarding any important updates that we have, and then to answer any questions that you may have. I'll be sending out an invitation to all section officers in July or August, so look out for that. Shortly after the conclusion of the annual meeting, I will send out the 2019-2020 section officer update form. This will provide space for you to update all of the section officers for the next term, as well as any awards that you plan on providing at the 2020 meeting, and any dues updates or general section updates that you may have. And we will need that form back to the Member Services Department by September 27th. So APSA section member rosters. Currently, section chairs, treasurers, and secretaries all have access to download the current section rosters once they've logged into their APSA account. So once you're logged into your APSA account, you can download your roster through the For Section Officers and Organizers page that you can get to once you've accessed our organized section page on the website. If you're unable to access your section roster through these directions, please contact Member Services and we will make sure that your account is linked properly so that you could download your list whenever it is needed. We also are able to provide lapsed member lists to your section if you would like to reach out to any dropped members and bring them back into your section. We can provide those to you upon request as well. Please note that section member lists are to be used for section communications only. They should not be rented, sold, or shared with anyone outside of your section. And as I noted earlier, all journal membership requests should come to the membership department, and then we will contact the journal publisher and send them the roster directly. So we have it sorted based on member type so that the publisher can just send out those journals to the members that do receive them. So I would now like to introduce Karima Scott, our Director of Communications and Marketing, and she will be discussing APSA Connect and our website with you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining the call. I'm here accompanied with Clarissa Nogueira, who's our communications and web specialist, who you'll be communicating with in the year also. APSA Connect is your organized section community-based form and document library platform. It's where your section hosts all of your information. You can network with your members, you can share resources, you have a discussion forum that you use to communicate with your members, and you can cross-post to other organized sections as well. You do have to log into APSA Connect using your APSA member login information. If you ever come across any issues with logging into APSA Connect, you can definitely contact myself, or you can email the staff email, which is communications@apsanet.org. We do have how-to instructions on the website that includes how to post a message, how to upload a document, how to change your editing, how to edit your email settings. All of your section members are defaulted as a daily digest. So when you do submit your messages to APSA Connect, it won't flood their email box. But they have the option to opt in or opt out of those options as well. So here's a discussion forum. This is where you post all of your section updates and announcements, elections, call for papers, job announcements. When you do post any job announcements, please make sure that you first post them to eJobs first, and then post the link within the APSA Connect forum. And then APSA Connect is also a good resource to notify, your section members about the annual meeting, your events, where to go to, panels that you're a part of, et cetera, et cetera. If you have any issues with that, again, please contact myself or Clarissa at communications@apsanet.org. APSA Connect also has a document library, so including sharing your announcements on APSA Connect, you can also upload pretty much any document, a PDF or Word document, any of your papers, any of the things that your members are interested in. Any of those resources can be uploaded to the document library, and I think Casey will be circulating the PowerPoint information around so that you can access these links to access the document library and the discussion forum as well. And in addition to that, you also can access the member directory in APSA Connect. So it lists all of APSA's members who have opted in. And if you have edits to your profile in APSA Connect, you do have to update it in your My APSA profile, and then it'll connect to the APSA Connect platform and update there as well. And then one of our, not new benefit, but it's one of the more popular benefits of having an organized section community is you can allow APSA to host your microsite. So the microsite is basically for you to hone in on all of your announcements, your award information, your highlights, any events that you have. You can connect your social media to it, and basically the APSA team, communication team, plays as a resource to you when you're updating your website. It's on a WordPress platform, so if you're familiar with that, it's pretty easy to manage. The section officers have the opportunity to let us know who they want administrative access to be given to make those edits. And generally, you work with myself or Clarissa to customize your website to your liking. So if you want it to link back to your APSA Connect community, if you want more images, if you want to, put annual meeting highlights on there from what you did last year and sort of promoting what you're doing this year, you can do that as well. So if you are interested in starting a microsite for your section, or if you have questions about an existing microsite, you can communicate those concerns to us at communications@apsanet.org for any of that, for any further information or details about that. I think that's it. Oh, it's not. Also, the APSA website contains section landing pages. So this page is for, it's on the APSA website. So each section has a landing page that includes who they are, where to find their microsite if they have one, their section dues. It lists the award committees and things like that. Sometimes those things get outdated. So if you have updates to those pages on the apsanet.org website, you will contact membership to update those pages. And then I'm going to hand it off to John to talk about section journals.
Thanks, Karima. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Great. Okay, so journals are another way that APSA engages with the sections. And the journals that are published in affiliation with APSA sections are basically fall under three types. There's 6 journals published on behalf of 6 sections that are APSA owned, where we own the copyright. That's the Journal of Law and Courts, Politics and Religion, Politics and Gender, State Politics and Policy Quarterly, Journal of Race, Ethnicity and Politics, and Journal of Experimental Political Science. Any other journals affiliated with the section are owned by the publisher, or in a couple cases by another society. There's 3 journals where they're owned by the publisher, but we have editorial control. So the section actually picks the editor-in-chief of the journal, and that's Political Communication, Political Behavior, and Journal of Information Technology and Politics. Any other section journals are basically an affiliation and more of like a membership agreement where members of the section get online access to the journal. What I'd like to ask is that if you have any questions about the journal, particularly the contractual or financial arrangements, to please come through us. And right now we're actually doing an RFP for one of the section journals that I mentioned that was owned by APSA, who's looking for a new publisher. It's really important to know when payments are due. So typically what happens is the publisher will pay APSA, and then we'll pay the editors, or we'll pay for the reception, or whatever it is that the publisher sponsors. And many of the journals also, especially the ones that are owned by APSA, receive a royalty, which is then put into the section's financial account. Next page. I think it's particularly important to notify APSA, either publications or communications, if there is, for example, a crisis. This happened with one of the section journals recently that was discussed in the media. Also, if there's news to share and you want APSA to share it on Twitter or Political Science Now, if you're having a new call for editors or call for proposals, please send it to us and we'll share it through all the APSA channels and through our other publications. For subscription list, you can go through the membership department and Christy. And the other thing, this hasn't come up in a while, but there are 20 sections that have journals, but there are more than 20 that don't. So if you're interested in proposing a new journal, or maybe starting an affiliation with an existing journal, please reach out to me.
Hi, everybody. I hope you can hear me. Just going to talk about a few things for finance. This is Larry Berner. Talk about a few things for finance, and at the end, we'll give you a email address where you can contact us if you have any questions. The first one is just sort of requests for payments. If you submit them, this isn't set in stone, but generally speaking, if you submit them on Wednesday by noon, we will try to cut the checks the following day. Sometimes that runs into Friday, but this is our process. Every check request, we need a W-9, W-8, or W-8-BEN for international vendors, and we do this just for tax compliance. And payment requests should be signed by the treasurer or authorizer of the payment. Okay, money we get in for membership are deposited daily, and we allocate the dues on a regular basis, mostly on a monthly basis. So we also generate monthly reports. We give you an annual report once we've closed the books out for the year, which usually takes a little bit more time, and then all the forms can be found on the APSA website. Or if you wanted to ask a specific question or find information, you can contact us at finance@apsanet.org. And that's the most important email address right there. So if you write that down, you can always get in contact with somebody in the finance department. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. So we recently updated our organized section handbook, and that was approved at the 2018 Spring Council meeting. So there was just a couple of things I wanted to make note of. Previously, all sections had to maintain a member threshold of 250 members, and that has been lowered to 200 members. If you are below this threshold or would like to increase your outreach efforts, you can reach out to member services, and we'd be happy to provide you with those lapsed member lists, as well as lists of APSA members who are not a current member of your section, but who have indicated a field of interest that aligns with your section. We'd be able to get you those lists as well. In addition to the regular updates that you do provide member services, we do ask that the chair submits an annual chair's report by October 1st. This allows us to have an overview of what events you've taken part in over the year, any changes to your section, and it also allows future section officers to have a historical background on the section that they are taking an officer position in. So if you can get that to us as well, and we will always send reminders and requests for this information. So that concludes our webinar presentation today. And if anyone has any questions, please submit them now using the Q&A field, and we'd be happy to answer them.
So Casey, we have one question from Julia Lynch. And I think she submitted it right at the beginning. So did you want me to read through them, or did you want to?
So I'll read that one, and we actually have Caitlin here to answer that. So the question is, when a panel is co-sponsored, do both sections receive credit for the audience numbers, only the primary sponsor, or are the numbers split across the two sections? So as I said, I have Caitlin Olson here from our meetings department, and she will answer that.
Hi, everyone. So the way that co-sponsorship works, both sections receive credit for the audience numbers, but only one section is charged the allocation for that panel, if that makes sense. So most often we suggest that if you're going to co-sponsor, make a partnership with two sections so that you're each taking one allocation, but you both get credit for both panels for the audiences.
Thank you, Caitlin. Our next question is, how do I get a copy of past chairs reports? So we'd be happy to look through our documents that we have on file and see if we do have any past chairs reports, since this is a newer request that we have been pushing. We may not have a complete background, but we will look and see what we have, and we will be in touch individually regarding for this specific question on the information that we do have. Okay, so if no one has any additional questions, we will end the webinar. We have another question. So to follow up on the chair's report, is there a form that you'll be sending asking for the chair's report? So yes, as we ask for the section update form in the fall, we will also request the chair's report at that time as well from the outgoing chairs.
And I think the second question is on microsites. So the question is, I'm confused about the microsites. Can we manage them directly? Yes, you can manage them directly. Generally what we do is we do a webinar with those interested in hosting a microsite with APSA and sort of just show you how it works and give you administrative access to go in and update pages, add pages, throw in content, things like that. So the answer is yes, you can manage them directly. And I think, I guess Brooke had a comment. But Julia, yes, yes, you can email communications@apsanet.org to request a webinar to get your section on Microsite, and we can get you started.
And then to follow up on the section reports, Brooke, I can, in our follow-up email that I will include a link to the webinar and some announcements, I will include some main points that we would be looking for in our chair's report, so that you can monitor that over the course of your term and have that prepared to send in at the close of your term. So I will include that in the email that I will send out later this week or early next week as well. Okay, so if there are no more questions, we will end the presentation. But if you do think of any questions, you can send either myself an email at membership or any of the other presenters that were on the call today, and we will get you a response. Okay, thank you all.
Thanks, Casey.
Thank you, Casey.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kareem.
Bye.